Virgo Sun. Virgo are our people born between August 23rd and September 22nd. So this is around the time of the fall equinox. Moving into Libra, you've got right after the fall equinox. Now with Virgo, Virgos are our devoted, earthy sun signs. Virgo's ruled by Mercury. That's our planet, the little planet Mercury that orbits around the sun in about 88 days to create 1 year for Mercury. This gives our Virgos and our Geminis a quickness of mind or a nervousness. It plays out a little bit differently in Gemini and Virgo. In Virgo, through Earth, through this mutable Earth, you see an individual who is analytical. They appreciate categorizing things. They appreciate doing things a particular way. They like systems, planning, analyzing, etc. That's quite Virgo. Virgo is kind of misunderstood too. The symbol is the Virgin. And to me, I like to think of the Vestal Virgins and this idea of this sacred purity. And you can see that applied metaphorically in the way that they mentally process things. They're seeking for a perfect system, a perfect order and way of doing things. So they are seeking this idealistic version of whatever it is they're interested in, whether it's from something as simple as organizing a toolbox to a Virgo who's interested in astrology, for example, who likes to learn about the categorizing. There are a lot of Virgo astrologers or astrologers who have a touch of Virgo on perhaps their Mercury. It's that interest in understanding how a system or a language or symbols, how these things all work and how they explain a deeper process or a deeper, more complex system. So a high-functioning Virgo, you've got someone who is helpful, they're dependable. They many times operate in a, Virgo energy is an introverted expression of energy, okay? So many times they're comfortable in a role where they're serving someone else, whether it's through being an assistant or whether it's through perhaps just being in the background or in a career where they're in a role where they're observing and analyzing from the sidelines. Now in relationships, this can come out sometimes, we'll talk about this in the low-functioning part, but it can come out as criticism. They can be critical, but on the high side, back to the high side, they're devoted. You've got authentic, genuine people. You've got someone who's got a good eye for detail. They're good at again, analyzing something, breaking it down, making it kind of make logical sense. They like to be in the world of the here and now. There's a practicality and a sensibility to Virgo where they appreciate showing up to appointments on time. They appreciate, sort of doing their duty, like doing the things that they say they'll do. There can be kind of a Boy Scoutish vibe to a male Virgo. I know quite a few actually that have kind of that like do-gooder vibe to them. They've got, like I said, this dutifulness and there's a responsibility there. And they don't have as much of a need for the ego. It's not they're not going to be directly motivated for ego strokes. So much as they're going to do things out of a place of it's just like the right thing to do and they can't not do it that way. And they will appreciate someone who gives them ego strokes. Look at their moon too. You got anything fiery on the moon or earthy, they're going to be someone who really would like to get some little pats back. Now, also Virgo is also quite hardworking. Kind of goes to being dutiful and responsible, but the sixth house, which is the Virgo house, has to do with our daily habits and sort of consistent patterns and the in and out of the minutia of life. And so Virgo is comfortable in the role of taking care of business, getting things done that maybe other people don't want to take care of. On the low side, so low functioning Virgo, you'll have someone that can be overly critical. I know quite a few Virgo females, and this is not, by the way, these are people that are some of my favorite people in the world, right? But Virgo females in particular can be kind of pessimistic because there's a realism there where they can sort of see it and they've seen the patterns, they've seen people's behavior and they've seen what happens when this happens, They kind of get like to this place where they become a little disillusioned because a Virgo, they'll show up, they do the stuff that it is that they say that they're going to do, right? They come on time, they, keep their appointments, they, go run to the grocery store and don't forget to pick up the ice for you, that kind of thing. That's Virgo. So when you don't show up or when the world in general they get screwed sometimes, like we all do, they become a little disheartened and disillusioned by the whole thing. So they can be a little pessimistic and a little anxious as well. Anxiety is a big thing for anyone who has strong Virgo. I have a Virgo Mercury and Virgo Venus in the first house, and I know anxiety. It's because it's like they run at a higher speed than a lot of other people, even mentally, because this is Mercury, which to me is a mercurial a planet. It has to do with the mind. There is a nervousness. A lot of, like, if I was to think of the stereotypical Virgo, they would be quite thin because they're busy, and there's a nervousness there, and there's a anxiousness that's there. So sometimes can have issues of insomnia, things like that. They have high standards. Now, Virgos are idealistic, just like Pisces. To me, this is like this axis of service, and it's this idealistic, value-driven axis. So they appreciate they have a hierarchy in their mind of how things should sort of operate. And so they'll appreciate when they'll want things to be up here. And they'll also kind of realize that to have things up here is going to be really difficult. Like, they know that they're perfectionists. There's quite a realistic, that's almost, I think, their strength and their weakness, right? Like, they can really see themselves a lot of times. They can see all their shit. And so they sort of feel bothered by that because they personally aren't able to hit their own, standard of what they think is ideal. And so they can project it onto other people or relationships, or just assume everyone else we're all a bunch of screw-ups as well, kind of a thing. So they also can be martyrs sometimes. You got this with both Pisces and Virgo, this axis. Anyone who has these zodiac signs strongly noted in their chart. Because, again, it's this ability to give and give and give and give, because it's kind of just, they operate better in the place of taking care of something else behind the scenes, taking care of someone else's problem and fixing it, rather than maybe receiving care from someone, like someone taking care of them. That will make them a little uncomfortable, because that means that they're failing at whatever it is that person has to take care of for them. Remember, they're Virgo and they want to do things to this level. It's like an ideal, and that means that they're not. So they're like, oh, I'm a big loser because you're taking care of me. This is really uncomfortable for me. Even like gift giving, a lot of times Virgos are, again, look at their moon, all the other thing, they're Venus, but a lot of times gift giving, receiving gifts can be a little awkward for Virgo, or they can be someone that you're like, I'm not really sure what to get for that person exactly, but ultimately they'll enjoy it. So gifts. But Virgo in love. So because you've got a person who has these, pretty high standards, this applies to their love life as well. And when they fell in love, they have thoroughly sort of analyzed the partner first. Now, I've got a friend who has has an Aries moon, and she's a Virgo. And she's quite spontaneous in love, and she's married now, but when she's dating, she's the kind of person who's very fun and would very much that Aries moon, independent spirit, want to do what she wanted to do. But then after she was sort of seeing someone, then her Virgo analytical nature would kind of set in, and she would sort of analyze things and look at them from both sides and be like, like this doesn't feel right, or this, so sort of after the fact, it was like this Virgo in hindsight, rearview mirror Virgo thing happening. But they have this idealistic thing that they're looking for. A hard thing for an idealist is you might have to just come to the realization that there really isn't an ideal. I mean, there is in your head, but as soon as you make something move from the mental space to the physical space in the form of another human, good luck. Like, it's going to be a daily for Virgo. It's got to be a daily recommitment to this other human being, and that recognizing that they're not going to meet the Virgo standards, just as the Virgo doesn't meet their own standards, and that's okay. So sometimes Virgo, with this, they can be the high standards. They can also, though, it's really interesting, they have high standards, but then they'll also kind of stick around. So they can be a little sort of passive-aggressive or codependent even. I mean, I use those terms very cautiously. I don't mean that Virgos are codependent or that Virgos are passive-aggressive. I'm saying think of what that sort of looks like when someone's codependent, when they want to support another person or take care of someone else's needs and keep another person sort of in a place of like addiction or like in a place of weakness so they feel needed. That can happen with Virgo, okay? And so you can sometimes see Virgo Pisces types get with like these narcissistic types, which would be more your Arian, Capricorn, Leo-ish type individuals, okay? So with a Virgo, you have got this devoted partner. The Virgo in love is devoted. Their devotion just you know, it's not the Piscean devotion, which would be this merging spiritual oneness thing. It is more like the Vestal Virgin, you know, worshiping the object of their love. They are sacrificing their carnal desires, you know, to perhaps be with other people, to devote themselves to the one they love. Okay, so think of it as almost a religious experience, because the Virgo sort of symbolizes, it's the virgin, it's the human here on earth looking up to the divine, and Pisces on the opposite end is just that merge of the divine and the earthly. Okay, so Virgos in love, they need that devotion in their partnership. A lot of times Virgo males will put females up on the pedestal, and you know you're going to fall off, you're going to jump off, or you're going to get pushed off when you're on a pedestal. So being on a pedestal is not comfortable. So Virgo men, don't do that. There's a certain level of devotion that should happen. And you know, when I say devotion, it's like this religious devotion. There's a certain amount that should happen in any relationship, but it should go in both directions. Okay. Okay. Oh, and also, so the thing with Virgo is they are looking for the one. You know, this is again sort of this religious experience in a sense. It's this worship of the partner in a sense. So once they found that person, they're quite loyal, and they don't have a desire to stray off. They want to be, you know, with their partner. So here you go. Here's the problem. You got someone who has high standards in love. They have high standards for themselves, but also for their love match, their partnership, and on their partner themselves. Of course, with that, you're going to be disappointed because people are losers sometimes, right? We are all assholes at times. We all do things contrary to how we would like to do them or how we intend on doing them. We don't show up, or we just let our partner down. So Virgos get disappointed at times. So their expectations in love are kind of, in a sense, it's funny. It's like they sort of have these high standards, these ideals, but they like no, because they're so practical. They're so damn practical. They're like, you're not going to be able to meet my ideal, my standards. So it's kind of, it can almost turn into like a pessimism, like, oh well, I mean, it's not going to be what I want it to be, and so they can just not go all the way in, even sometimes, you know, or hold back and still hold on to this little idea, this ideal love that exists somewhere out there in the ethers that they'll never get to. All right. Because also when they do really love you and they have that devotion to their partner, they get disappointed. They're let down many times by their partner, right? They realize, I love you fiercely, but you might not be able to do it in return. Okay. And so self-sacrifice, if you can do things for them where you're sacrificing something that matters to you for the Virgo partner, that will be something that really means a lot to them. Showing up for them, showing up, being a backbone, you know, being like a strong, united force. They do want to look up to their partner. And if you let them down, they sort of become disillusioned and they lose a little bit of respect for you. So you have to, you know, show up for them as best you can. And a Virgo will give you this sense that you want to be a better person. You want to be in a better place than you are right now. You want to live up to these standards that are actually really quite beautiful. They're ideals of what true, blossoming, divine romantic love looks like. Okay. Virgo's biggest fear. So yeah, Virgo, if we're thinking of this archetype of the virgin, I always think of sort of this religious virgin. It makes me think of nuns or the Vestal Virgins, whatever. That means the partner is God. The partner is divinity. It's the divine. Virgo is learning how to access the divine or the oneness, the same oneness that Pisces is all about on the opposite end. But they're learning how to do it from this place of object, subject, or like this place of they are this worshiper and the partner is the divinity. Now, this is very, you need to think about this in kind of a big abstract way, okay? But they'll serve the partner. They'll defer to the partner's needs many times, a Virgo, especially Virgo females. But at the same time, their worry, their fear is that their partner won't be able to love them in return in the same way. So, you know, you can have a dark Virgo, someone who is pretending to worship the partner and very charming and saying all the right things, but on the inside is not really going all the way in because they've lost kind of hope that anyone else can match where they're going to go anyway. So what difference does it make? So that can happen. So keep that Virgo feeling like they are your beautiful ideal of what love is, and that their devotion does not go unnoticed, and that you shine your light on them, you know, so to speak. Libra Sun signs are people born between September 23rd and October 22nd. Libra is a Venusian zodiac sign, meaning it's ruled by the planet Venus, the planet that for us symbolizes love and beauty and harmony. Okay, it's harmonizing socially and harmonizing aesthetically, this type of thing. These are the pleasures of life. Now, even if you listen to the sounds, if you've ever had a chance to listen to the NASA sounds of the planets, pretty cool. Like the Venusian, you hear, they took the, I believe it was the electromagnetic spectrum that's around Venus, or that's whatever it's giving off, and they turned it into audible sound waves. And Venus has this beautiful, haunting sound. Almost like a siren, or, you know, a mermaid. It's really beautiful. And Saturn has this really spooky, I'll have to post some videos on this. But at any rate, okay, so back to Libra. So with Libra, we've got, not only do we have the zodiac sign that's ruled by Venus, the planet has to do with harmonizing, you've also got the zodiac sign that falls right in the middle of our zodiac of 12 signs. You've got Libra's the 7th sign. So after you've moved through the first 6, which have to do a lot with personal development, you then move into 7 through 12, so Libra all the way through Pisces. These signs have to do with more so with our relating and this sort of energy, this back and forth with these people and the world around us, the wisdom of the world around us. And it starts with this Libran energy. Libra is the partnership. It's the harmonizing. The sign is, you know, the scales, which is fine. I mean, all the air signs are the only zodiac signs that have a human being in each of the, as part of the symbolism, okay? So Libra is this air sign that of all the air signs is the most sort of, it's right in the middle. It's this neutral, I would say even of all of the zodiac signs, there's a neutrality to Libra. And many times when you see Libra placed on the different planets besides the sun, it's hard to see how it's expressed. It can be overwritten by other, you know, zodiac signs that are perhaps stronger. It's like this neutralizing energy that can kind of make everything come together and compromise. It's like the Benjamin Franklin of the zodiac in a way. Okay, but as far as love goes, you know, this makes Librans are natural peacemakers. They don't really like to fight. It's not that they don't. It's not that they mind conflict so far, or it's not so much that they mind conflict. It's that they want to quickly get to a place of harmony and fairness. They want to have things return to a place of equanimity, balance, where everyone feels like their needs are being taken care of, okay, and no one's being cheated. That's a Libras don't like to see things, people being screwed. That brings out their opposite energy, which would be the Aryan side. That's all of us. All of our zodiac signs, our sun signs, hold the polar as well. So that will bring out that desire to fight in a Libra, okay? So with a high-functioning Libra, you've got someone who is diplomatic. They are a harmonizer. My kids' personal experience, or personal story, share this. I've got an Aries boy, a Taurus female, a Scorpio female, and a Libra female, okay? My kids, my son and daughters. My Libra daughter, the youngest, has always been this sweetie. She's like the one that is just like easy and sweet, and you know, on the surface socially has great social manners, even as a pretty little dancer, knows how to pose for pictures. You know, Libra just has this Venusian quality. They've got this beauty to them, or this grace. And even if you've got I know plenty of Libras that aren't physically beautiful per se, but then they've also got this, they'll have this nature to them where they're good at harmonizing, whether it's in conversation or debate. You know, they can sit and have a debate with you, but they can do it in such a way that you feel like you're not sure if you're laughing half the time, or are we debating, or you know, there's a sociability and a harmonizing nature to Libra. Now, Libras also, you've got someone artistic, ruled by Venus, artistic in a different way, different from, like, let's say a Taurus, which is also a Venusian zodiac sign. Libra is going to be artistic. It's going to start with an idea. It's going to start with an idea that is in their head, and many times Libras like conceptual art, or if they were to be someone that liked graphic T-shirts, they would prefer ones that had words on them that conveyed a message, you know, like quotes and things like that. That's Libran. Libras love to read. They love to learn. They are trying to find the common ground in the world. So reading is something that many times is enjoyable for them. There is an androgyny to Libra, which is really interesting. Libran females many times feel, in my mind, all the Libran females that I know, they'll have an external thing that's, you know, feminine. That whether they're beautiful or not, there's a femininity to the way that they express externally. But then you get to know them and they're quite masculine. There can be a logical nature to the way that they think. They can even be detached in certain situations. They can have this impartiality to them where they'll look at the situation from a place of ration rather than a place of emotion. And that can be confusing to people because it's different than the way that they sort of appear on the outside. They call Librans, they say they're the iron fist in the velvet glove, and that's true. Librans, it's because of the coolness and the air that's in them. They can detach themselves from outcome. And so this makes them good, like negotiators, good counselors. They're good at getting two people to kind of come together and agree with one another and like, let's make this work. In my house, when I have the three older kids fighting with each other, it's my fourth, my youngest one, that goes and sits and is reading a book quietly. And it's like, guys, you need to be quiet. You're being really rude. Like, stop fighting. You know, that's a Libra. And so they're uncomfortable with situations where it's when it's irrational, when it's fighting. It's like, this makes no sense. Why are you fighting over this? This is stupid. That's Libra. Okay. And then the Libra men, they have more of a feminine quality. I was married to a Libra man, a wonderful man, married to him for 13 years. Has always been, he's a good gift giver. And always, whenever he bought me a pair of shoes or boots, those were the things that all my girlfriends would be like, those are so cute. Where'd you get those? You know, I'm like, Travis got them for me, you know, of course, you know. And so with Libra men, they'll have many times this pleasant, if they're not straight up attractive, which is very common again for Libras and Venus types, they are charming. They're charming and they have this little smile to them and this great conversational energy. They love to talk and see what you think about things and they want to find out about you. And, you know, they can be a little vain. Libra men are known for that. Libra females too, both. They can be a little bit vain and don't enjoy getting older, but they'll fight it tooth and nail. But, you know, for the most part, Librans are, there's a diplomacy, a sweetness, and a kindness there, and they're great lovers. They're great at relationship. They want to find common ground and make things fair. Okay, so with a low functioning Libra, we've got someone who can be a little too vain. I think they're a little shallow at times, and in their relationships, even look at that moon. That's really important to take a peek at. Librans, hopefully, if they've got a nice earthy or watery moon or a moon that's in an earth or a watery house, it's going to give them more depth to their emotions. But they can be truly detached, and even in their romantic relationships, they can be in love with the idea of the relationship and, you know, the surface interaction with this other person, but perhaps lacking a deeper connection and maybe even having a fantasy life in their head of this ideal lover, sort of like a Virgo in a way, but different. And taking pleasure in that place that's not even real. It's the idea of what love is rather than the actual partner. They can do that. They can be indecisive. That's many times because they're in the middle. The thought is, you know, that they're weighing all options and they're taking in many options instead of like, okay, let's take action now and move forward. I'm a Libra. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I think that, but I do have an Aries moon, so that's probably why that makes me, I can't stand indecision actually. But with a Libra, it's like they don't want to step on toes as well. So sometimes they feel when it's like making a decision, it takes them a second because like, if I do that, that might bother this person, or if I do that, you know, it might not be what I want. So they can be indecisive. They can also overly intellectualize their emotions. They can feel sad and not want to feel sad. And so then they'll, you know, want to talk about it and discuss it perhaps. But they will want to make it make sense and they'll want to talk it away. They'll want to rationalize it. They won't really appreciate being seen as someone who is emo or having a moment where they're trapped or swept up in their emotions. That's not a place a Libra really likes to be. That's a place of extreme, right? The Libra wants to be kind of in the middle where they've got it all balanced and they're grounded. It's also, to me, the inner marriage, okay, between the masculine and the feminine is a strong sort of thing to think of when you think of a Libra. That's why you've got the androgyny between the male and female Libras. There's a strong sense of masculine and feminine. They have, if it's a female, she's got a strong anima, masculine part to her, and if it's a male, he's going to have a strong I'm sorry, I just said that backwards. Female would be animus and male would be anima. My bad. So, but their inner masculine and feminine will be healthy and strong. So Libra's in love. Libra in love, you know, this is the sign that rules relationship. Traditionally, it's the seventh house, it's partnership. To me, what's interesting is the seventh house is not a house that is like a smoldering, passionate house. It's a house of compromise and relating and finding harmony and finding balance. And these things are all quite rational and logical and make sense, okay? So Libra in love, first and foremost, they really do want to have a relationship that's peaceful and harmonious and pleasurable. If this is not enjoyable, why are we doing it? That doesn't make any sense to a Libra. If it's not enjoyable, I'm not going to do this anymore. This doesn't work for me. You know, there is, again, that being in love with love. So searching for that elusive true love, and then having to settle with one partner can be difficult for an Aries, as it can be for many of the air signs, just because there's this high degree of sort of overthinking things. And with an Aries, a Libra, they're wanting that ideal thing they have in their head that may not be real. Okay, so Libra's expectations in love. So Libra's expectations in love, again, they have this ideal of what they think partnership should be. They're looking for happiness in love. That is a primary driver of a Libra, would be relationship. Even if you've got a Libra, like John Mayer, for example, he's a Libra, and he's got some really interesting things in his birth chart. But at any rate, he's a great example of a Libra man who is like always in a relationship, but like always in a relationship, like lots of different relationships, right? So it's this, what's that called? The serial monogamist thing can be happening with a Libra. And also, I know he had that issue with pornography that he talked about, and that is the projection of the feminine, the projection of his very strong anima onto these women and objectifying. It's like he's making love to all these nymphs and making love to the divine feminine. That's pornography. So that can happen with Libra. I'm not saying the Librans are porn addicts or anything like that, but what I'm saying is there is this ideal of what the ideal masculine is and what the ideal feminine is. And so the Libra can sometimes just never be satisfied because you will never find someone who embodies all of those traits and characteristics in one entity. So that can be tricky. Just do your best as a partner of a Libra to keep things harmonious and fun. And they need new things to talk about. They love art, they love music. Librans love cultural experiences, museums, history, you know, take them to see things. And they love food, restaurants, nice things. This is a Venusian sign, so they're going to appreciate the finer things in life, but they're quite refined. It's not typically a gaudy appreciation of material objects. It's more the refined appreciation, like a nice painting or a book, an antique book or something like that would be something a Libra would appreciate having in their life. And also these grand gestures, these expressions of romance. A Libra would love if you wrote them a love letter, if you put your thoughts into words or music or songs with lyrics that are meaningful. That's a Libra would appreciate that. Libra's biggest fear, and I say this as a Libra, twofold. It's quite interesting to be seen as ugly, and this is not just physically ugly, this is ugly in all way, shape, and form, and to be seen as someone who's not intelligent. To them, that would be sort of the same thing. That would be being intellectually crude. So Libras appreciate harmony and beauty, and they want to be seen as harmonious and beautiful in all ways, not just physically or the way that they relate to you personally, but that just as a human being, they want to be seen as a refined version of what it means to be human. And they're Renaissance people. Libras are known because they're in the middle of the zodiac again. They have their feelers kind of in everything. They can relate to all different types of people because they're sort of that neutral energy in the middle. So they're also interested in a lot of different things, and they have a lot of disparate interests. So they feel sometimes just like a Gemini, that same sense of maybe I'm not that deep because I have all these diversive interests instead of being epistemic with something. You know, I'm curious about all these things instead of, you know, just one thing. And, you know, just let the Libra know that they're okay and they're just great the way that they are, and encourage their many interests because it's not going to change. It's just how they're built. And talk to them, have conversation with them about them, and give your Libra a painting. They'll love that. Okay. Virgo and Libra sun sign compatibility. So when I think of Libra, I think of Venus, the goddess of beauty and love, and Libras are about partnership and harmonizing different people socially. And then with Virgo, I think of Virgo's mercurial quality. Virgo, because they're an earth sign, but they almost have an airiness to them because they're ruled by Mercury. And to me, because they are cerebral, they have this ability to analyze and critique things, that flows nicely with the air sign of Libra. And I always think of Venus, even though Venus rules Libra and Libra's an air sign, Venus feels earthy to me, which sort of complements Virgo's earthiness, or I suppose they're both of them have a highly idealized idea about what relationships should be. Virgos tend to be a little bit more devoted to that idea and to their relationships. Libras can be a little bit here today, gone tomorrow sometimes. I mean, so if they've got a Libra with an earthy moon, that's probably a nice that'd be a nice touch to complement this Virgo sun. And for that Virgo also, if that Virgo's maybe got some fire on the moon, something to keep it exciting for the Libra, then that could help spice up this relationship a little bit. As far as their overall just kind of long-term interaction, I see this being something where the Virgo is kind of taking care of the Libra. This could be the setup where the Libra is sort of on the receiving end, I suppose, of the Virgo's attentions and affections. And the Virgo, I mean, as long as the Libra's got a sweetness to them. So Libra, you could, the kinds that give people to do things for them, and the person that's doing it for them feels like the Libra's doing them a favor, kind of a thing. So that can happen. And so the Virgo might just feel perfectly happy taking care of the Libra, and the Libra feels happy being taken care of. So it works out well. You will run into, both of these signs can be quite airy and cerebral and sort of take things and make them more about the headspace and what you think about it than how you feel about it, so they can overanalyze, over critique that, especially the Virgo, but really overanalyze the romantic situation or the relationship, okay? But overall, this is a good combination. Like I said, I think that the problem you will run into is the Virgo could feel taken advantage of by the Libra a little bit, and the Libra could feel like the Virgo needs to relax and not be so worried and so negative. And the Virgo can be they can be realists. They can be a little pessimistic, and that might bother the Libra. The Libra would rather just enjoy thinking about the nice things in life, like, rainbows and no, I'm just kidding. But Libras do like to keep things on the positive side. They like to focus on the beauty of life and music and art. And okay, we had a bad day. Let's go do something fun. Let's go do something enjoyable together to help you forget your bad day. And they need that in return. So overall, not a bad combo. Just look at those moons. That's what I always say. So let me know about your Virgo-Libra relationship down below in the comments, and hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.